Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens demolished the Pittsburgh Steelers at home 28-14. No surprise to anyone on this panel because we all picked the Ravens. What should Tomlin do about the QB situation going into next season? Nick, I got to give you some props, bro, because I know this ain't the question you wanted to ask. But I think the question you wanted to ask, I put the rest, at least for the time being. So let's deal with the QB section.
The hate gonna come.
It's coming.
I want y'all to talk. I want y'all to talk first because I'll sweep it up later. Y'all go ahead and talk. We'll start with Q since he said they was gonna win the division and do some more shit.
I said they won the division too.
They collapsed. Dude, I think you gotta kind of ride with Justin Fields. I mean, they lost 5 in a row. I think that's the definition of a collapse. But depending on how you look at it, like I was saying last time, man, they went into the season. Everyone expected this team to win 6 games, 5 games, 7 games, right? In that range. They expected it to not get to the playoffs. They didn't see anything good for this team. This team got to 10-3 with Russell Wilson getting the switch. Everyone said, oh, man, at that time you had people saying, Tomlin, coach of the year. Oh, my God, they finally did it. This is the year. I thought the team was a great team, and I still think it is a great collection of talent. But what happens, I mean, I think that they really just caught bad breaks towards the end of the year where you lost 5 key defensive players going into the Philly game. You lose Pickens going into that game. You know, they rested Pickens until the Kansas City game. But, dude, in 11 days where you've lost 6 key players, you got to play the Eagles, the Baltimore Ravens, and then you play Kansas City on Christmas Day. That's a gauntlet of a schedule going down the stretch. Hold on. That's not fail. That's just real. You lost 6 key players like Deshaun Elliott. You lost
11 days.
Players. Yeah, in 11 days, dude. They lost key players. You can't expect them to go into it and win all them games.
The Lions lost their whole defense.
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, though, I haven't even finished because the problem is that I think they had a lot of bad breaks and people lost context of how far, once again, the team overachieved. People want to coordinate Mike Tomlin, and I think people want to see Mike Tomlin get a ring, like really, really bad. But we jumped the gun again by not keeping shit in context. The team overachieved. And that doesn't negate the fact that it was a piss poor performance on Saturday. But dude, there's just a lot going on within the organization that I feel like people are going to gloss over and just throw at Mike Tomlin's feet, which a lot of it is fair, but a lot of it to me is it's just not within the actual context of the season. People thought this team was trash, and you get to the playoffs against Baltimore, and you just shit the bed, man. I think you got to go in next year, Justin Fields, see what he has, either open that book or close that chapter, depending on how he plays, and then go from there.
Nah, look, my thing is this. We know that Russ is cooked. Everybody said let Russ cook. Russ is well done.
Are you believe that for real?
Yes, I believe that. And the reason why, look, I didn't necessarily believe that in Denver, but I believe it now. And Sean Payton saw it, and he knew he couldn't win with it. The issue with Russell Wilson is he's not able to get to third, fourth reads. It's touchdown, check down, that's it. And then he's not mobile enough because the thing is that when Russell Wilson had success with Seattle, he had the mobility to create. Is his arm cooked? No. He still throws one of the best deep balls in the game. Pause. He still throws one of the best long balls in the game. The issue is he doesn't have the mobility to get to those reads because he wasn't reading those in the pocket. And he's still not reading it in the pocket however many years later. And that's an issue for any head coach, any OC, because look, let's be honest. At bare minimum, you got to get to your third read. You got to get to your third read.
But FIFO, the third read is Van Jefferson. Like, what
doesn't matter though. Like it does. It does matter.
Have you seen Van Jefferson play?
No, but FIFO, it does though. Steelers fans, please chime in.
They hate.
Why the hell? So why can't we say the same thing about Justin Jefferson? I mean Justin Herbert.
Because Justin Herbert's been up 27-0. If the Steelers were up 27-0 and then they lost this game, I'm like, yo, this is all Mike Tomlin.
Justin Herbert has the size prerequisite to play the position, or what the prototypical size that you want at that position. He has the arm. Russell Wilson is not a shell of himself, but he doesn't have the mobility to overcome what he always lacked.
I just think that's a lazy
issue.
I just think that's a lazy.
How's that a lazy take?
I think it's lazy.
The film.
I don't think you've been watching the film. I don't think you watched the film.
I am watching the film. He don't get to the third read.
Broderick Jones don't let him get to third read. He snaps the ball. He's getting sacked within 1 second. And then when he puts the ball, and people are like, wait. When he puts the ball, when he puts the ball in Pat Fryermuth's hands on Christmas Day, Pat Fryermuth fucking fumbles, and it's 17-24. And then KC goes on avalanche downhill, and now they're spanking the Steelers at home. In Baltimore, the only game that game was in Baltimore.
If Russell Wilson is your starting quarterback, you're not a championship contender. As simple as that.
That's
Justin Herbert either.
Simple.
That's cap.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I don't think
Justin Herbert or Justin Fields.
That's not true.
Or Fields. I agree.
I was talking about Herbert.
Either one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Herbert. I know why Shelton said Herbert because I mentioned him in this conversation. I agree, Shelton. Justin Herbert is that we can't consider him a championship level quarterback right now. You know what I'm saying? CJ Stroud is still to be seen. He's still on the up and up.
It's only four quarterbacks at a championship level, right?
Right. I don't think you have to be like this otherworldly QB. I just think I think the Chargers are just cursed. I think the Steelers.
Okay, that's fine.
You can have a team that can get you to victory. I think a team victory is very much so possible in Pittsburgh. We've seen that with the team in 2017, like the Eagles. We've seen that happen, where all you have to do is just get hot for a run.
When's the last time that the Steelers won a championship?
Giants too.
What year?
All right.
In 2000.
It was a long time, FIFO. Before you go, Spike, what are your thoughts, Shelton? What do they need to do with the quarterbacks?
Well, first of all, I think they need to move on from Pickens. I'll say that. I know that's not the quarterback question, but move on from Pickens. And I thought about that long and hard, man, at first until pause. But yesterday before that game, I was thinking like you look at take a flyer on Sam Darnold to bring in another veteran.
The Steelers?
Yeah. The only reason I say that is because Mike Tomlin, he threw the ball around. I don't like Sam. We know how I feel about Sam Darnold. But Mike Tomlin could use that on that team to throw the ball around a little bit. But
that's crazy.
Was that before or after you? Keep going.
It was before. Kid, because I was like, I knew he was going to be himself. I had no doubts he'd revert back to himself. But I'm thinking the only thing that can keep him going at this point would be a Mike Tomlin, a coach like a Mike Tomlin that kind of help him out.
See, but that goes to my point, Sheldon. And when y'all trying to get a black man to come save everything, give him mediocre ass talent like Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and now you even talking about Sam Darnold to come in here. All of these years, even with an old Ben Roethlisberger, we've been asking Mike Tomlin to come through, win in the playoffs, and do these things. And he's had trash ass quarterbacks. We don't ask that from any other head coach in this league. Like now we got Justin Fields out here from the first part of the season. He did okay. And we got fucking Russell Wilson out here, and you want him to go win playoff games with a team who Mike Tomlin coached up to 10 wins. That's insane. And I think Mike Tomlin, to the original question that you asked, Ken, it says a lot about Tomlin that he's even had this team in this position where we're spending $4 million at the quarterback position. No other team in the league is doing it. Everybody else is spending 20, 30, 40 million on a quarterback. We asking him to go figure this shit out with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. It ain't fair to Mike Tomlin. I know Nick gonna have a problem with this, but the real answer to this question is the Steelers need to get a fucking quarterback. They need to quit trying to patch that shit together. I don't know who. It ain't my job. I'm not their GM. But they need to figure that shit out and quit putting Tomlin out there with people like Justin Fields and people like Russell Wilson and people like an old-ass Ben Roethlisberger and expect him to win games. Even though they did that to him as a black head coach, he's still like, I'm still going to win games and go to the playoffs. And then people like Nick like, oh, well, you went to the playoffs. You got to win now. Like, no, nigga, I ain't had a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger was in his prime. That was 25, 30 years ago.
Okay.
That's crazy. Quick question. That is crazy.
Let me rephrase.
How are they supposed to get a quarterback? How are they supposed to get a quarterback?
I got you.
That's not on me, and that's not on Mike Tomlin. That's on the GM and the owner. Y'all need to figure that shit out. I go out here and I do my job every week.
Look, I got here.
Hold on. Let's Shelton
over 10 games.
Go get Joe Milton from New England.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But I just don't understand.
Same spot, bro.
why are we punishing Mike Tomlin for winning? I don't understand
Thank
that.
you, Q.
Like,
Thank
I
you.
really this is the most asinine shit I've heard. Like in the NFL is that he's winning too much. What the fuck? Like where? Like and then if he went 4-12, well that was the over. If he went 4-13 or something, then it's get him out of here and let's go get Mike Vrabel. And it's just like I don't understand. On one side, we can't have it both ways here. You can't give me Scotty Miller and Van Jefferson and then tell me that Russell Wilson is the problem, and then have Broderick Jones and these terrible O-linemen like Dan Moore who can't hold anybody back. And then the defense is not playing because half the team got fucking flu. It's just a mess.
So two things. Tweet Open Door said FIFA is called trades. Who is trading a franchise QB? Nobody's trading a franchise QB. Tweet Open Doors. That's number one. Hey, Jerry Jones wants Dak. That's crazy. That's something different. And then here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. When I was watching this Steelers team, right, and just overall, regardless of whatever the catalyst is to them making the playoffs, whether it's the greatness of Tomlin, the defense, whatever it is, right? What they are the mid-2000s Atlanta Hawks. They're talented. They're good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not a championship contender. And when you are stuck in purgatory like that, I don't disagree, Spike. I don't disagree. I'm a Tomlin guy. My name is not Nick, Mr. Disrespect. That's not my name. My name is FIFA 24/7. I'm keeping it real 24/7. They are stuck in purgatory. They're good enough for whatever reason that you want to say that they are, whether it's defense, Tomlin, whatever have you. They're good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not a championship contender. And when you're stuck there for all these years, guess what happens when you draft mediocre talent because you're not drafting at the top, right? And then because of the success, you don't have a lot. You're starting to pay guys. TJ Watt got paid. Alex Highsmith got paid. Who the old guy that's on the line as well? He got paid. Minka got paid. There's a lot of people that got paid. So you don't have the financial flexibility to just go splurge in free agency. So they are stuck in purgatory. And all I'm saying is that the Steelers need to make moves to you have to reset.
Because you're not wrong,
because this is what's going to happen next year.
That's not Mike Tomlin's job. Mike Tomlin's job is to go out there and win 9 to 10 games a year, and he's done that. And people like Nick are giving him criticism because he doesn't have a quarterback because he wins 9 to 10 games. And I see the chat saying, okay, where is he supposed to get a quarterback from? That ain't his job. It's the GM's job. It's the owner's job. That's on them. Y'all bring me a good quarterback.
Can I just want
to read this real quick, and then I'll hand it to you.
Because I was hoping you
would bring it up. This season, since week 15, have not had a lead at all in any of their games played. The Steelers' defense in the last 6 playoff losses have allowed 38 points per game, over 415 yards per game, and have allowed 18 passing touchdowns with only 1 interception.
And that's where I'm going to, because I do agree with Lou that draft, like a GM's job is a GM's job. You're supposed to bring in talent. Since Big Ben, they've only drafted Kenny Pickett as a quarterback, and everybody knew going into that draft class, like he was not it. But the Steelers are the
quarterback in Philly.
The Steelers are the Steelers. They're not going to. The Steelers are similar to, like, the AFC North really kind of moves very similarly when it comes to how they don't move off of draft picks. Like, they don't trade up. They don't do a lot of stuff. They stay in their spot regardless, and they're just gonna pick who they get. And the Steelers they're not going to fire Mike Tomlin because they've had 3 coaches in the last 50 plus years. So they just going to stay stagnant. My criticism of Tomlin isn't about Tomlin. It's about the Steelers, because to me, if Tomlin was coaching somewhere else, I think he would be a lot more successful. However, he's coaching for the Steelers, and they're fine with, or at least they're showing that they're fine with being relevant enough, but not great enough, because they would have made moves on the roster to do something if they really wanted to compete, especially after Big Ben. But my main thing, as far as the one criticism I do have with Tomlin, he's supposed to be a defensive head coach. The stats that Ken just brought up shows that, one, his defense is getting old and they can't do what they used to do, because you're averaging 30 plus points giving up. That says a lot. And also, if you're talking about the money, FIFO, they're the only team, I believe, that has more money on their defense than offense. Like, the year that Big Ben got hurt, I think, with his elbow, the year that they traded for Minka, was the year that Big Ben got hurt. That was they traded their first round pick for Mika Fitzpatrick. And that's when I remember I came on here and I was like, what the fuck is they doing? Why would you do all that shit? Because I told y'all about trading for DBs and mostly safeties. The shit don't mean nothing. It don't help you win. Ask Atlanta, ask the Chargers, ask Pittsburgh. It don't mean nothing. That was the year they were supposed to suck to get a high draft pick for a QB. You see the Bengals do it. You see the Ravens trade up to get Lamar. You've even seen the Browns suck enough to get a high draft pick, even though it doesn't work out for them, but they still are able to do that. Until the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to do that, they're not trying to win. So I don't really, that's the reason why I'm like, bro, we talk about this team as a Bomani Jones said it perfectly on this podcast. He's like, we talk about the Steelers like they're a championship like organization and stuff like that. Them championships was in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? There's only a few niggas that's still alive that even remember those days. So like between now, like, yeah, they won 2 titles since then, but it's been hella long since then. So to me, my thing is they already came out and said they're not firing Tomlin, and they're gonna, and as far as the answer to the question, as far as the QB situation, they have to go with just Justin Fields at this point. Because like you said, bro, you lost 5 straight and you didn't have a lead in any of those games. And that's going against the Bengals, who Shelton and others have said were not a good team this year. And you lost that game at home. Because like, to me, it's like you have no other choice, but because this free agency class ain't got no QBs coming out. The draft class, if you're not picking the top 3, you're not gonna get no good one unless you're taking a reach. So you just got to stick with what you got, and then wait till next year.
You would take Justin Fields over Sam Darnold?
Yes,
I think it's better because if you go with Justin Fields, it's a win-win. If you're Tomlin, you go into that season. No, I'm gonna tell you why it's a win-win. You go into that season where, in Spike's perspective, it'd be a miracle, but the miracle happens, and he's magically a good quarterback, right? That's one win. And then on the other side, he's terrible, and you get a top 5 pick. And then if you're Tomlin, you go into that season being like, bro, I know y'all are cheap, because Omar Khan and Dan Rooney, ever since the first Rooney died, they haven't been aggressive, and their scouting and their prospects haven't been good. And the reason why it can't just be a Tomlin thing is because Omar Khan has a job to do at GM. And the GM job that he's done, it hasn't been bad. But, dude, you go into the season, like I'm saying, with Van Jefferson and Scotty Miller as your second and third option. Pickens is going to get bracketed every single game. They're going to double him every game. And you're expecting Pat Freiermuth to beat one-on-one every single time. That's not a good recipe for success, especially when Russell Wilson can't see over the line. He has a Drew Brees line of vision where you have to be all timing routes. So if you don't even have the people who can get separation, you're setting your quarterback up to fail. And even when Justin Fields was in there, he only scored 3 touchdowns in 6 weeks. So it's like we're talking about structural issues. The 49ers and the Eagles still find ways to pay people, and they are in either the Super Bowl, NFC championships every other year. You know what I'm saying? They're in contention. They're in the playoffs. And yet they can still go get Saquon Barkley. They can still pay for premium left tackles. They can still make trades for McCaffrey's. And the Steelers are over here just like, let's just wave the towel and hope that the 70s wins us a fucking ring. That's just not going to happen.
They don't want to owe nobody. They don't want to owe nobody. They don't want to give up draft picks. That's what I'm saying. Like,
they got to change that philosophy, Nick.
But until they don't, like, they just gonna be where they are. That's why I'm fine with it. Like, yeah, keep Tomlin in there. This is gonna be, hey, Lou, we gonna run this back next year. Like I always say,
they gotta get
aggressive. Win 10 games. He gonna get y'all hyped. He gonna get y'all hyped up for the regular season like he always do, and then he gonna lose early by hella.
I agree with Q in the sense of the philosophy needs to change, but I only agree with that in the sense of the quarterback. They need to figure out how to get better quarterbacks into their system. They haven't drafted or had a good quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger was there. I'm not blaming it on Mike Tomlin. I'm blaming it on the system, the Steelers, and the GM.
He's not an excuse for everything.
It is that simple. Because these teams have been very good and gotten to the playoffs consistently year after year.
They haven't.
With Mike Tomlin.
They haven't. They have not been good enough, bro.
Yeah, and
they I ain't saying good enough. I'm saying they make it to the playoffs.
You said very good.
They've been good enough to make it to the playoffs and for Mike Tomlin to not have a losing season. If the Steelers were like, okay, we're going to make sure we find you a good quarterback, then it would be different. They haven't took that commitment on.
No,
Great quarterbacks don't be under a rock though.
Yeah,
on top
people
of-
find them.
on
Nigga,
top of that,
the Cardinals found Kyler Murray. If the Steelers had Kyler Murray, they probably would be more successful.
hell no.
The Steelers not even trying.
He was the number one pick, Lou.
Probably.
that's what I'm saying. Like Luke, the
They didn't
thing
find
that,
him.
the thing that Mike Tomlin has to do is have a
Good point,
losing
you're right.
season. Once he has a losing season, we could talk about this. But for
I
one,
mean,
Mike Tomlin has shown that he cannot develop quarterbacks because he didn't develop Kenny Pickett at all.
That ain't his
And
job.
and he also can't capitalize on quarterbacks because he didn't capitalize on Big Ben.
But that's
He
fine
did.
though.
That's
No, he
facts.
did capitalize because
did
he won
capitalize
a
on Big Ben.
championship
That's not
with
true.
Big Ben.
Yeah,
he
Big
won.
Ben,
He
yeah.
won a championship with Big Ben.
FIFA.
But hold on.
One more thing.
Tomlin
thing.
is a CEO type of head coach, bro. He is not
Exactly.
Sean Payton.
How's that working
He is-
out?
What do you mean? He makes the playoffs with mediocre
okay.
talent every year.
But
He
my-
elevates
He
the
does
talent
more
on
with
his
less.
squad.
But my
All
thing
right.
is,
100% Shelton.
one last point, Ken. We talk about you said he did capitalize on Ben Roethlisberger. Did Mike McCarthy capitalize on Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
No, he did not.
He won a Super Bowl.
People
What do you
always
mean,
people,
though?
people
What
always
are we
people-
talking about?
people always talk about Mike McCarthy didn't in that Green Bay
won
run.
it, Nick.
They
won
should
a
have
Super
won. No, they
Bowl.
said they
It
should have
don't
won
even
more.
make sense.
They should have won more titles because if you look at that Steelers roster when Big Ben was in his, it's not like Big Ben was super
That
old with
Packers
Mike
defense was
Tomlin.
trash.
It's not like. Hold on, let me finish.
Mike
Y'all had a
McCarthy
long
was
time to
Super
talk. Let
Bowl.
me finish.
You're right.
It's not like Big Ben was old the whole time that Mike Tomlin was there. He was there for the 3 Bs. Can you remember that nickname? It was Big Ben, it was AB, and it was Le'Veon Bell, and they ain't do shit.
But shit. Like I can tell you every single game and every single season where Bell was hurt, Brown was hurt. But shit, your team, Burfict knocked AB
crazy.
out. And y'all knocked AB and Ryan Shazier out the fucking play. Y'all knocked Ryan Shazier.
what about
Damn,
the-
Ryan
what-
Shazier, man.
What about
I-
that year? What about that
Come
year that
on,
they
man.
lost? What about that year they lost to Jacksonville?
I don't think
Ben,
any.
I
think
love
that-
you bring it up because Ben threw a pick on the Pittsburgh 20-yard line in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter he fumbled at the
Okay.
50-yard line.
Guys,
What about
y'all
Ben
act
really
like
scored.
winning Super Bowls is fucking easy.
It's
No.
not easy.
This shit
The
is
hardest thing to
winning.
do.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
that's why
Winning
McCarthy
one
wasn't.
is an
That's why
accomplishment.
McCarthy
One.
was not a failure with Aaron Rodgers. To Nick's point,
But then
You're
why
right,
don't
Ken.
if you're saying that, then why don't we look at Mike McCarthy the same way that we look at Mike Tomlin?
I don't
No.
know why they don't look at him the same way.
He
Because
doesn't
it's
have the same
situational
success.
football. No, it's not. It's not even a
Wait,
success. He's won 12 games damn near every year that he's a head coach. It's situationally where we nitpick at Mike McCarthy. We don't nitpick at the offense. We don't nitpick sometimes at the play calling because we have to nitpick at something. But the play
And the
calling, the
time,
play
clock
design,
management. Clock management.
situational football is his Achilles heel. And that's,
Facts.
in my opinion, if you're
He
going to
goes
be a
right.
head coach in the NFL, that is what you have to be elite at if you're going to win at a high level.
We're spending a lot of time on a team that's not even in the fucking playoffs anymore.
Let's talk about the
So
black man won.
what I'll say is that there are a lot of issues that Tomlin will be stuck in purgatory because the organization doesn't do enough to get him pieces he needs. This quarterback situation is a hot mess, and I don't know what they do. I'm inclined for them to just try to see what they can do with Justin Fields if he managed to learn something from Russ at all. Russ proving that he wasn't able to do what he needed to do to get an extension of a contract. Who knows what they're going to do? Also, I think the thing is in regards to, I was talking to my father-in-law about this when he was over, and we as fans and the fans got every excuse to be irate. They turned against Bill Belichick. They just turn against people. They turn against their team when they're not doing what they want to do. But I think, Nick, you make a very valid point. These fucking Super Bowls that everybody are so calling themselves teams that win Super Bowls, they were back in the day when they were like fucking 5 or 7 teams, just like the damn Cowboys and all these other organizations. So they're holding on to old things that doesn't even exist in current fandom livelihood. So anyway, my thing is Tomlin does just enough to win to keep them in the situation, and that's the issue. But organization, we don't know when they meet at the beginning of the season, when they say, what do we expect to win this year? What are our expectations? We don't know. We don't have privy to any of that information. And as long as he's meeting those, then that is what it is. So what is the organization saying? When they gave him an extension, they're saying that this is our guy. When they came out and said we're not going to fire him, they said this is our guy. When they put a fucking no trade clause in the contract, they said this is our guy.
Right.
Yeah, everybody in the chat, y'all are more than welcome. Everybody in this program, y'all more than welcome to keep having this argument. But the organization have fully committed to it, and it's just like, what are we going to do? But keep having the same discussion.
Which is why I'm changing my whole discussion on Mike Tomlin as far as him getting up out of there to where it's just more like, let's hold him to the same standard. That's all I've been trying to do. Same standard as Mike McCarthy. You know
Dragon Knight, yeah, Dragon Knight, their standard is a Super Bowl. That was years ago.
Yeah, that's not the standard anymore.
Chuck
if it
Knowles
was, he would be out of there.
Right. Chuck Knowles got 4 of them. Bill Cowher got 1. Mike Tomlin got 1. All of those Super Bowls that everybody's talking about as a standard, that was in the 70s. The Dallas Cowboys Super Bowls, that's their standard, that was in the 90s. The Patriots standards would be built Brady and Belichick. That is gone. So, no, those are not the standards anymore. It hasn't been the standard since the 70s.
It's just marketing, Ken, and people people fall for branding because they think that like people say, oh man, Mike Tomlin didn't he only won because he had Bill Cowher's players, as if Bill Cowher didn't only win one and then the next season went 8-8 and retired. And it's just like, it's ridiculous. People are calling for Arthur Smith's job because they think it's